Hi everybody, it's Karen. Um, Welcome to this week's Crochet Coffee and Chat with Karen. Hope you guys are all doing well. I know that Linda's here and so is Brat. I know there's a couple other people out there, so make sure you hop in and introduce yourselves. I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm kind of, I'm having a week and it's only Wednesday. I'm a little behind on my shawl. I'm still working. I got 2 more rows after the one I'm working on, and then I can do row 4. Hi, Gina. It's good to see you. I'm going to talk about clue 4 today a little bit. I won't be able to show you anything because I haven't gotten to. I don't know if I'm going to crochet while we're talking here, but maybe I'll get to it. But we'll talk about it, and then I'm thinking that tomorrow morning I might get on again at 9 a.m. and actually go through the clue as much as I can. I'm only going to be able to do online probably like 2 or 3, maybe 4 repeats, so you can see how it works, how the stitches work. There's only 4 rows in clue 4. Just so you guys know, next week I might have to push off my YouTube live to Thursday. I'm a little scattered. On Saturday morning, actually Gina, before class, I don't know if you saw this on social media, but I found out my aunt passed away. She's my mom's sister and she's my godmother. And I went on with class. I had to wait, the tears had to wait till after class was over. But it's been a struggle this week for me. I'm going to be leaving on Monday to go to her funeral, which is Tuesday, and then I'm going down Monday. We have her rosary because we're Catholics. We have a rosary that night, and then I'm spending the night, and then we have her funeral in the morning, and then I'm flying back home, and I won't be home until like 11:30 Tuesday night, and it's kind of been a struggle for me this week because not only is Tuesday my aunt's funeral, but it's also my husband's and I 30th anniversary. And because of the COVID restrictions, he's not able to come with me to the funeral. There's only allowing 25 people. And so I get to go, but my husband doesn't. So yeah, so it's been a week. So I'm trying to get a lot of stuff done. Unfortunately, the crochet along, it kind of got pushed back. My sock class is on track pretty much, but my crochet along is kind of behind. So thanks, Gina. I appreciate it. It's a tough. She was a strong force in my life, so it's been kind of really tough. So, and my mom has dementia, so I'm kind of going for my own reasons, but I'm also going because my mom, I don't know how she's going to react at the funeral. So it's going to be interesting. So you guys think of me next week, on Tuesday especially. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Linda. Yeah, I appreciate that. So thanks, Brenda. I appreciate it. So how are you guys doing with your shawl? Now, enough about me. I got to get back into my happy mood. I was in a great mood. I have clue 3 I am working on right now. I'm on this. This is the second to the last repeat. I've got 2 more rows, and then I can start clue 4. Thank you, Charity. I appreciate it. I really do. I love our crochet community out there. You guys are all so supportive, of me and of everybody else. So I appreciate that. And that's the kind of community I like to see in crochet. So thank you for everybody for being so supportive. Almost done with clue 2. I'm planning to start clue 3. Awesome. Clue 3 is actually a lot of fun. It's just, they're long rows. There's rows of the chain loops that I showed you last week, and then there's long rows where I'm at right now with the double crochets. The chain loops don't seem to take that long. Those of you who have finished probably already know the chain loops don't take very long. It's these rows that have all the double crochets that seem to take forever. So yeah, I was hoping. I got up early this morning. I got up about 5:30 and quickly took a shower and then came over here and started working on this. And I had a couple emails I had to deal with first. And I didn't get as far as I was hoping to get today, but I'm almost there. So with Clue, have you guys all downloaded Clue 4? Have you taken a look at it at all? Anybody? It's actually, I wish I had the original shawl. It's still with my photographer. She's still doing some edits, and she usually doesn't send me my sample back until I have the actual photos in hand. So I'm waiting. It's very pretty. It's basically the edging. It's 4 rows. You start with just a straight row of double crochets, which is very similar to, actually it's exactly the same as, let me find it. It's exactly the same as row 2 on Clue 1. And so that's what you start with, is a row of just double crochets. And that's the last increase row. You're not going to be increasing anymore because the last 3 rows are literally making the edging. And so the second row, after you've done a row of double crochets, you're going to do a row of just straight single crochets. The single crochets kind of just set up everything for the lace work that we're doing for the edging. And then as you can see here, the third row is you're just gonna be doing some single crochets, and then at certain strategic places, you're gonna be doing chain loops. Actually, I think there's 5 rows now. I think about 1, 2, 3, no, 4 rows. I'm right, 4 rows. So you're gonna be doing some chain loops to set up these lovely little, like little flowers almost, little cool little flowers. And then on a row, let's see, row 63 is the double crochets, row 64 is your, actually I take that back. The single crochet row, 64 is single crochets, but you're doing your base, and I'll show you guys this tomorrow. There's a base loop right there of just a chain 4 loop in between. So you're doing single crochets, and you get to a certain spot, you're going to do a chain 4 loop in 1 stitch, and then you're going to do some more singles, and then there's a double. No, it's all singles. All singles till you get to the next chain 4 loop, and you're just going to keep doing that all the way across. And your center point is going to end up having a chain loop. So I know that a few of you on the forums, or at least one person that for sure I can remember, I think there might have been one other person that said that the 2 sides of Clue 3, one side had more 3 double crochet clusters on one side than they did on the other. If you're off by any, that chain loop in the middle of the point is going to be off. So this is where I said you can make your shawl longer or shorter if you want to, but with Clue 3, if you don't have the same number of spaces as I say in the or the same number of stitches that I say at the end of Clue 3, Clue 4 is not going to match up. So you're going to have to do some math to get that point to have that cool little cluster or that cool little petal thing at the point. So that's really, really, really important, just so you guys know. But then after you do that row of single crochets with the single loops, the next row you're doing single crochets again, but then inside those loops, you're doing 3 more loops so that you get that little flower look. And then the final row is just stiffening up those loops with single crochets. So it's very simple and straightforward, but I do think that for some people, if you're not used to reading a chart, and the words might be a little, I mean, you can see that rows 64 and 65 are a little wordy. So I do want to show you how that all works. So I'll definitely get on tomorrow morning and do that. But I wanted to jump on today because I was planning to be done, and I didn't want to cancel at the last minute on you guys. So I'm here. So do you guys have any questions for me on anything else while we're at it? Clue 3, clue 2, anything. I mean, I mentioned last week that I was working on my website. That's all fixed. It's all up. It's brand new. So I don't know if you guys have had a chance to look at it. So the website's up. Anything else, guys? Because I'm going to sit here and I'm going to try to speed through this row. And how do you add more hours to your day? I wish I had the answer to that because I could use that too. Oh my gosh, this week especially, it's just been one of those weeks that just, yeah. I would love to have like a couple hours every day that extra that is just crochet time, that all I do is sit in a chair or, you know, or be somewhere, you know, on a bench somewhere and crochet. Just, that's all I want. So I'm going to just sit here and I'm going to do this. I'll answer any questions. I'm trying to think if there's anything else coming up I can tell you about. I think I told you guys I have a pattern coming out next month. Oh, that's what I wanted to say about the crochet along. There's a couple things. First off is that you have until October 9th to finish your shawl before I do the drawing. I'm planning to do the drawing. That October 9th is a Friday, so I'm letting you go through. I mean, Saturday morning will probably be when I shut things off, so so that people can't post and be a part of it. Or I have to give you guys a cutoff. Depending on what my day is like on that Saturday, the 10th, my husband's birthday is Sunday, the 11th. So depending on what the 10th is like, I may do the drawing on the 10th. If not, I will do it on Monday for sure. I might actually do it live here on YouTube just so that you guys can see, you know, real time who the winners are. And so that's the number one. So make sure you when you finish your shawl, you take a good picture of it and put it in. There's a thread. Oh gosh, I got a hair stuck to my neck there. Okay. It bothers me when I see that. There's a thread in the forum called, oh geez, now I can't remember for sure. It's called Post the Photo of Your Finished Shawl in This Thread. I'm so unique. But in that thread, you're going to post whether it's blocking, it's on you, it doesn't matter. As long as this is kind of I can see the whole finished shawl with the edging and everything. That is how you enter to get one of the 6 prizes. And so make sure you do that. And then as far as the pattern, the final pattern is concerned, I should be getting those final photos next week. And then as soon as I get those from my photographer, I will have the pattern laid out. So I'm not 100% sure when I can get the final finished pattern with all the beautiful pictures of everything all put together. It will definitely be sometime in October, and you guys will be the first ones to get the finished pattern, and then I'll release it on my website. So what'll happen there is everyone who registered for the crochet along, regardless of whether they finished or not, that's part of the price of joining, is you will get a free copy of the finished pattern. So that'll be coming in. I'll let you guys know, and you'll get it in your email, not on the forum. I have a way to download everybody who or the email addresses of everybody who registered, so that I can just shoot an email to that instead of doing it in the forum, because there's several people who've not joined the forum. So I think they just wanted the pattern at the discounted price, which happens a lot. Okay, Brad's mom, do you have a special way of weaving in ends? I do. I do. If you go on I don't know if I have anything that I can show you on right now. I don't. If you go on my YouTube channel, I have a video that shows you exactly how I weave in ends. My grandmother taught me how to do this way back when I was 7, and so I've been doing it the same way for 40 plus years. And it's literally, I don't like to weave ends on something like this right now, because if I have to rip anything out before I'm finished, I don't weave in the ends. But I'm going to give you kind of a visual of what, hang on a second, here. Okay, so here is my center of my shawl, and here's the beginning tail. I always leave, first of all, at least 4 inches. This is a lot more than 4, but I always leave 4 inches. And then when I weave in, I never go across the rows. Well, in this case, going across here would actually be going down the sides of the rows, and that's exactly what you want to do. If I had the end right here and I was working across the stitches of the row, of a single row, that you don't want to do, because it's noticeable, first of all. And then secondly, it causes things to pucker. And even if you straighten it out, there's something there that's always visible. So the thing my grandmother always taught me is that you always go down the sides of the rows. So even if you're working in the round, instead of going across the circle of the round, you go through the rows. So you're going through the actual stitches. Now, in the case of a shawl like this, where this is actually the end of a row, I can go ahead and weave the ends this way and then back. And with a yarn like this, this is a wool nylon blend. So what I would do is I would weave in at least 2 inches one direction, and then weave back 2 inches the same way I came. So that's really important there. And then the third thing you want to do is when you're weaving in something that's really slick, or, well, you want to do it with every sort of thread, but it's really important when it's slick, is when you're weaving this way, you go under 2 strands of yarn, and then the third one you split with the needle so that the yarn's coming through the fibers of that strand. And split, and then under 2, and then split. I do at least 3 depending on how thick my yarn is. And then what that does is that, especially with wool blends, it will cause the fibers to kind of lock into themselves, and it takes less for them to pull out. And then when I go back the other direction, so let's say I wove in my ends this way and I pulled it. I always pull it a little snug, and then I take my fabric and I kind of stretch it before I come back the other direction. When I'm coming back the other direction, when I do the split, I try just to split the yarn that I have woven in this way instead of the same stitches or a different stitch in the actual fabric. And by doing that, that locks it in even more so it doesn't unravel. And then when I get to the end, I pull it a little snugger so it might buckle just a little bit. I cut it and then I stretched out, because then if I cut it and then stretch it out again, that little end that you cut that's right at the edge will get hidden inside your stitches, and so you won't see it. And like I said, I've been doing this technique for 20 years, or 40 plus years, sorry, 40 plus years. And I have, in fact, it's in storage right now, but I have my first Afghan that I ever made. It was made for my grandmother when I was 12. And it was one of those ripple afghans that changed colors every 2 rows, you know, and the golds and the oranges of the 70s. And I did this technique on that afghan, and my grandmother used that afghan, and I had it with my kids when they were growing up, and it's been washed a million times and none of those ends have come out. So it's a really good way to lock in everything. And I know a lot of people think, oh my gosh, that's going to be so bulky. Why can't I just crochet over it and blah, blah, blah. Crocheting over it, you will find that your ends will come out. Whereas if you actually weave your ends in with a needle, and I know it's a pain in the butt, and especially if you're doing squares that are multicolored, like granny squares or anything like that, and you have to sew them all together, I know it's a pain in the butt to do, but it is so worth it to have the finishing right. My grandmother always used to say that the front of your work always has to look as good as the back side of your work. And that was, even though weaving in ends is usually done on the back side of the work and stuff like that, you can't tell if you do it right. And it does take some practice. It takes a lot of practice actually to get it so that you don't have this bulky thing. You can feel it sometimes, the bulkiness, but you won't see it if you do it right. So what I recommend if you really want to learn how to do it is just crochet single crochet squares or double crochet squares or both, and practice weaving those ends in, and you'll see what the difference is. The other thing too is that you always want to try to do it. I know working in the round, it's not as easy, but if you can do it on the edge of the rows, that's why we always change colors if we can at the edge of the row, so we don't have to worry about being in the middle of the fabric, because a lot of times, depending on what type of yarn you're using, especially worsted weight, you can see the line coming through. But if you do it right, you won't. But I always try to do it on the edge because that prevents it from showing. Now in the round, there's really no way, there's no edge. It's always a circle. So what I do is I try to do wherever the seam is, where you're joining the rounds, especially if you're doing double crochet, or if you change colors every round or something, that's where I do my sewing of ends. And so usually, like if it's a hat, it'll be in the back. People won't see it as much. Again, if you do it right, it won't be as noticeable as a normal seam. But does that answer your question a little bit, Linda? I know that was a lot of words with no pictures, but my video will show you exactly how I do it. And you'll notice that in my, oh, good. Okay, cool. You'll notice in my early days, I did a lot of blankets that had fringe. And well, fringe was popular back then too. But fringe was also a way that I could not have to weave in ends. In the new year, I'm going to have another ebook that comes out that's all blankets, and several of those blankets have a lot of fringe on them, and I'm leaving the patterns with the fringe because I know how many people don't like weaving in ends, and it's a really simple way. And the way I do it is I incorporate it into the tassel of the fringe, and it's it almost hides those ends for you. But yeah, I mean, when my grandmother told me you always weave in ends, I mean, it's a preference thing. It's a, you know, if, I don't know, I guess my grandmother was one of those people who always said that if you're going to do something, you're going to do it right. And to me, that has always meant that you don't crochet over your ends, you weave them in. And honestly, I have done both. My grandmother was probably rolling in her grave the day that I did a project that I crocheted over the ends. But that project did not turn out the same. I ended up ripping out some rows and weaving the ends in it. It made a completely different edge on my project. So, and a different look and a more finished looking thing. One of the things I want to teach online is I have a finishing class that includes how to weave in the ends. I taught it in 2019. I taught it at Interweave Fiber Fest in Denver. And that was probably the part of the class that most people commented on and how much they appreciated was showing them how to weave in ends properly. And a lot of those students are still telling me that that's the only way they do it now. And that makes a difference with their projects. So there you go. There's my little soapbox on why I weave in ends and why I don't crochet over them. So I'm glad that helped. Again, my video will show you everything on how I do it. Anybody else have a question for me? I stopped crocheting. So I guess I'm definitely going to be online tomorrow showing you guys how to do this. I'm losing my voice. There we go. So I'm trying to think of what else do I have going on. I told you about the pattern for this. How is the air? The air quality is awesome. We had rain. We supposedly had rain last night, but I don't see evidence of it. But that's because it's so much warmer here. It's very possible that it dried up overnight. But we had rain, so it's been in the good. I mean, we've been in the green. 31 was the lowest that I've seen as the AQI. Yesterday it was like 48, so it was going up a little, but it's a whole lot better. Here in Washington, it seems like most of the fires are in somewhat of control. So hopefully there'll be, I haven't heard of any new fires that are burning wildly. So I'm really hoping that we're here in Washington, at least, are kind of at the tail end. Let's see, Linda, what time tomorrow? I'll be at work. I'm probably going to do it at 9 o'clock like I do here, or 10 Eastern or noon Eastern, just because I have an appointment at noon my time. So I'll probably do it at the same time I do this one if I can. And of course, there's always going to be the replay. I'll always post a link on the forum, and then it'll also be in my YouTube channel. So you can always go back and watch them. Let's see, Gina, glad to hear everything. Yeah, so far it's getting much better. Oregon is last I heard they were at like 10% contained. One of my actual best friend, she has a cabin on a lake in Oregon, and she was sending me almost daily updates about where the fire was. She thought she was going to lose everything. But I talked to her last night, and she said they're fine. They've got most of it contained. The fires are still going, but it's not as bad as it was. Oregon is kind of, I think they're finally have hit the peak, and they're coming down the other side now. California, Northern California seems to be fine. Southern California, I don't know what's going to happen down there. There's so much fire going on down there. I don't know what's going to happen. So, and I'll be flying into Northern California on Monday. So it'll be interesting to see. My parents said that, are you guys getting rain, Colleen? I know you're on the west side, so hopefully you guys are getting some rain to help. But my parents in the Northern California have been saying that I don't know that they had rain. I don't know if it was just a windstorm or something that cleared their air. So they're doing a lot better in that part of they're in the San Francisco Bay Area. So they're doing better there. Yeah, me too. I wish, Colleen, I wish it would rain. Just a good soak like we used to get on the west side, because I just need the air cleared. I saw, Brenda, you had snow. My best friend, she actually is living in, I think I told you, in Highlands Ranch, Colorado. And she's from Huntington Beach, California. She's just renting. And she sent me pictures, I think it was Labor Day weekend, with snow. I was like, oh, it's too early. Your son lives in LA and so the air. Oh, good. Really? Better than Seattle? Well, I guess so. There for a while. Yeah. So are they getting better down there, Colleen? Last I heard, they were still like crazy burning everywhere. I've been trying not to watch it too closely because otherwise I get really depressed. Growing up in California, you get used to having brown hills during the summer and you get used to having fires, but these fires are destroying the forests. I mean, some of the forests near Santa Cruz, and it's devastating to me because these are places we used to go when I was a kid, and I don't know if they're even, I know parts of them are not going to be there. What I remember is not going to be there. So. I'm trying to think. Okay, I told you about this. I told you. Watch for a new pattern to drop on October 6th. This is a pattern I'm really excited about. I've shown bits and pieces of it on Facebook, or Facebook and Instagram, but I haven't really talked a whole lot about it. So you guys will see the project October 6th. You used to live in Phoenix, Oregon. Burned to the ground. Oh, no. Oh, man, Colleen, I'm so sorry to hear that. It's awful. It's awful with what's going on. People losing their houses. And I just want to turn the page on 2020. I just want to be done with 2020. I am so ready for things to change. And I know that, a date is not going to make everything better, but it just feels like 2021 is going to be a new start for everyone. It's so, yeah, I'm done. I'm just done. There's too much happening this year. Oh, man. Yeah, a lot of Oregon people have lost their homes. We had a fire just north of us, a couple hours north of us. Whole town burnt to the ground, an entire town. A little small farming town, but it's just, oh my gosh, it's so hard. So anyway, anybody else have any questions for me? Crochet wise, anything else? I am trying to think. What else do I have going on? I'm going to be swatching a whole lot of stuff soon. So you guys will see that. I was hoping to get started sooner, but things just kind of took a turn over here. So hopefully when I get back from the funeral, I'll be able to start swatching a bunch of stuff because I will definitely be done with this by then. I think if I'm not done with it before I leave, I'm definitely taking it with me for my plane project. Yes, Linda, it has been terrible for everybody all across the board. Looking here, I'm still working on my course platform. You'll see. Oh, that's what I wanted to mention. If you're on my newsletter, you've probably seen me talk about having a class on October 17th, doing this shawl, the scarf. Let me grab it here really fast. This is my reversible shells class. So this is the scarf. One side it's actually coral. It looks orange on my screen, but it's this reversible shell class. I am still going to have it. I was planning to launch it this last week, but with all that was going on with my aunt, it just didn't happen. So I'm going to be working on that next week when I get back, and I'll launch it. So if anybody's interested in taking that class, it's I guess in a way you could call it a brioche in a way. I mean, a crocheted brioche, not quite the same, but it does give it kind of that look, doesn't it? It's a really cushy double-sided pattern. I taught it for a guild in Texas on Zoom, and it went really well. So, and a lot of people have seen pictures, and so they're all asking if I'll teach it. So I'm going to offer it. That'll be the last class I teach for 2020. So I'm going to go kind of, I mean, you'll see me on social media and you'll see, you know, projects that I'm working on, but I'm going to be kind of working on that, the class platform, so that in January I can just kind of hit the ground running with all of that. And then all of the tech work with that takes a long, long time. So, you know, I've been like researching new software and stuff like that. And I'm going to be doing some sort of office hours in the new year too, for people who are working on my patterns or taking a class of mine. Even my Craftsy classes. The one thing we don't have on Craftsy right now is we don't have the option of you being able to contact me with a question. So if you're taking one of my classes on Craftsy, I'm going to have a way for you to contact me directly via Zoom to ask me questions. So eventually, I think it'll the platform will have a chat feature, but right now it doesn't. So I'm trying to make things a little easier for all of my. Oh, thanks, Brenda. It is pretty. It's a class sample, but I kind of want to use it. I might make myself another one. If I might order this yarn again and make myself one, because I really like how the colors. It's so bright. It's so bright orange. It's really not that bright orange. I wish I could get you a better color. If you look, actually, when I release the information about the class, you can see the actual color. Oh, good, Linda. I'm glad you have both of my classes. Well, you know how to get a hold of me anyway. So anytime if you work on any of my classes and you have questions, you can always shoot me an email or ask me if we can get on Zoom or something. But I want to start having consistent Zoom time where people can actually chat with me when they have questions, because a lot of times I feel like I get a question via email and I answer it and they tell me they understand, but I don't know if they really understand it. So I want to be able to show people, maybe offer 15, 20 minute, maybe even a half hour, depending on what the problem is, and be able to spend some time with them, just making sure they understand what I'm talking about. So yeah. So that's about it for this week for me with all the new stuff. I mean, I have a few other things that I wish I could share. I'm so excited about them, and I can't share them yet. So I'll just tease you like that for a little bit. So anybody else have a question for me? Otherwise, we can just get off early today. With Clue 4. But in the meantime, go ahead and try Clue 4 and then bring back your questions to me if you're able to attend tomorrow. That'd be great. So, and then if not, I'll see you guys on the forum. Hopefully we'll get some, now that Clue 4 has dropped, we'll get a little more chatter on there about people finishing and how they like the pattern and all that stuff. So, and a couple things I am going to do once I get my shawl done is I'm going to go through the pattern before I actually have it go to layout. And I'm going to try to add the stitch counts for each row, where it makes sense. Not every single row, because otherwise you're going to have too many row counts to deal with. But, in places like in Clue 2, maybe every second or third row, I'll have, I'll just list at the end of row X, you have this many stitches. At the end of row X, you have this many stitches, that kind of thing. So the final pattern will give you a few more stitch counts. So you too, Colleen, have a great day. And I'm going to sign off here, everybody. So you guys have a great day. And I will see you tomorrow morning or on the forums. Have a great one. Talk to you soon.